In this video, we're going to look at credit cards. Now, this is probably something that you've had little experience with because in Australia, legally, you cannot be the primary holder of a credit card unless you're 18. So, I guess if some of you are 18, you may be the primary holder. You could be the secondary holder of a credit card if somebody over the age of 18 has authorised you as also a user of the credit card, but that's a different case. So you're actually using somebody else's credit card because you have authorisation to do that. What are credit cards? What do credit cards do? Well, they're different to your ordinary withdrawal card, but in that using your credit account is like taking a small loan. And obviously, if you're taking a loan, there's always a possibility that you'll have to pay interest. It's important to note that interest may be charged as a flat or at a compound interest rate. So you're looking for these words in the question referring to credit cards. You also need to be aware that if there's going to be an interest charge, it's on every individual item that's been purchased on the card, and the interest is charged daily, so note that. And you need to individually work out the interest charged for each item because it will depend on the price of the item, because that's how much you're borrowing, and the number of days since you purchased that item. What are the advantages then of having a credit card? Well, it allows you to make purchases online. You're able to give over your credit card information. There is a set limit to most credit cards, so it's not like you can run up a huge loan or an accumulation of loans and then find yourself in a position where you can't pay it back. There will be a limit, and that's set by the lending institution that authorises your card. On some credit cards, you may have an interest-free period, no interest at all. So that's very generous. Lots of credit cards are set with a 55-day interest-free period. That means you can get these loans, you can go in, you can purchase something, you'll have 55 days or an agreed time in which to get that paid. And if that's the case and you get it paid, there's zero interest. So you've had the loan of the money for that as many days as it takes to for you to make the payment, and it hasn't cost you anything. That's a big incentive for some people for a credit card. Credit cards also allow you to accumulate points and rewards. And again, that's another reason why people use their credit card. Of course, there are disadvantages. You must get this amount paid within the agreed time. Now, I've said that a common agreed time is 55 days. It's much easier, however, for us to work within 1 month. So the sorts of examples you'll see is where the credit card starts, the agreed time starts at the beginning of the month and it finishes at the end of the month. Any purchases made within the calendar month need to be paid for at the end of the month. So it's just a whole lot easier to work with number-wise, because remember, we've got to work out the number of days from every purchase through to the payment day. The other disadvantage is that interest rates can be very high. If you go over the agreed time, then you have to pay interest. It will be at a very high rate. you need to be aware that if you withdraw cash on your credit card, then you will definitely pay interest. So there's no interest-free period if you're taking cash on your credit card. Some account fees might be very costly as well, so you need to keep track of that. And of course, I guess in some regards, the other disadvantage is that the minimum age is 18 for holding a credit card. So even if you've left school, got a permanent job, a secure income, however you are under the age of 18, then you are ineligible for a credit card. Let's have a look at this example. Mitchell's credit card has a flat interest rate of 14% per annum and no interest-free period. These are really important features of the question to note. He uses the credit card to make the following purchase for the period 1st of August through to 31st of August. That's what I was saying is probably the most common sort of question you'll get, though in reality, in real life, you will probably find there's a 55-day interest-free period, should it exist. Should you even be offered interest-free. But this example, no interest-free period, interest must be charged on every purchase from the date of purchase through to the date of payment. So you can see there are 3 purchases, one on the 2nd of August, and this becomes really important that you note the date now, because Mitchell's going to pay his account in full on the 3rd of September. 3rd of September. So we now know we need to be able to work out the number of days from the 2nd of August through to the 3rd of September. There's a second purchase, and that one was on the 16th of August, and it was for a pair of jeans, but he doesn't pay for that through until the 3rd of September also. So we need to be able to calculate the number of days separately for the jeans. Likewise for the movies, but you can see 29th of August through to the 3rd of September, not many days. Remember, every individual purchase will have its own interest charge. So we'll be calculating 3 interest charges separately and adding them on to the cost of the item, certainly the cost of the phone recharge, the jeans and the movies needs to be paid, as well as the interest charged for each one. So you can see I've set up the necessary information to be able to calculate the interest for the phone purchase. So I've got the purchase or the loan is $85. The rate is 14% per annum. Now, we always change our percentage to a decimal. However, please note that all interest will be charged per day, so your rate and time must be in days. So, to change our yearly rate to daily rate, we divide by 365. I would suggest that you just leave that as a fraction, because you will see with our calculator, because we have the fraction button, we can easily put this value into the calculator. The calculation for the number of days, you can see I've done here, and you may be wondering where that comes from. The 31 is for the total number of days in August. So we've got from 31, or from the 2nd up to the last day of August the 2nd, because that's when the purchase occurred. So 31 subtract 2, the difference or the number of days up until then, and then using the payments on the 3rd, so another 3 days, gives us 32 days in total. You then use your formula, I equals PRN, and remember this is just the interest for the phone, and we get, subbing into that formula, you can see there on your calculator what I was talking about, the ease of putting a calculation like that into this new calculator and coming up with the answer. So this we read as $1 and 432 blah blah cents. We know that we cut off when it's money after 2 decimal places, so we would say $1.04. So you can see I've done the same for the jeans, and please pause this at any time and check these calculations using your own calculator. Write down any questions if you don't understand where I've got any of this working from. But the jeans cost $129. It was like that's how much was borrowed. The rate stays the same per day. The number of days for the jeans is 18. So remember over here we had the number of days for the phone recharge was 32, and that impacted on our interest here. Now the number of days is only 18, and you can see there's less interest. It's less than $1. It works out to be 89 cents. Please check that yourself using your calculator. Movies, likewise, but fewer days again, and the interest charge is only 4 cents. And now to finally answer the question, how much does he pay? The total to pay is obviously, and don't forget this, he's got to pay for the items. So the 85, the 129 and the 22, plus the 3 lots of interest, the $1.04, the 89 cents and the 4 cents, and that gives you $237.97. In example 3, it's a little bit different. You're given a statement of purchases, a summary of the account, lots of information, and from that we need to answer these questions. So what is this statement about? Well, Kylie's credit card has an interest-free period of 55 days. With interest on purchases compounded daily. So now we would be needing to use a different formula for calculating compound interest. And remember, that formula doesn't actually give you the compound interest. So with all questions, it's so important to spend a little bit of time at the beginning getting a really good understanding of the question. And thinking also then, so remember the see, think and wonder. So you if you can't see what the question's got in it, you've glossed over things, then you missing a lot of information. You're making the question more difficult. Think about what you will be required that'll make you working through this question more successful. And obviously the fact that compounded daily and thinking, like I said, that it's a different formula and etc. And also this, we haven't talked about this, that they're saying for this card, interest is charged up to and including the date of payment. Now, in the previous example, we didn't include the date of payment. The easy way to get around that is to do exactly what we did in the previous example, because that was pretty straightforward, and then add 1 to the end. So you'll see me do that. Actually, I'm going to run out of time on this video, so I'll stop this one now and talk about this example in a whole new video.